starting your journey to financial freedom. Now, you're listening to the New Investor Podcast.
This is Faraz CJ for the New Investor Podcast, and I'm actually quite glad we managed to go through these last few tropical storms safely here. And in the meantime, the S&P 500 has hit the 3,100 level for the first time, which basically means another record has been set on Wall Street. So this impeccable run this year will most probably prompt sell-offs as of December. Being the end of the year, we might expect investors to take their profits, given the excellent year we had, in addition to not seeing a market correction for the last 6 months already. So that could also occur in addition to the continued confusion on the trade deal with China, coupled with the upcoming news we don't know about yet. So I'm preparing myself accordingly, and usually December is the month on which I will make that extra effort to save a little more. I am incurring additional expenses this year, so I am pushing the envelope a little bit more, well into a 62% saving on my salary next month. It's going to be hard, but I will make it happen. That cash will also allow me to take advantage of the next market correction, which I foresee could happen in December, as well as get me closer to my first major milestone of $100,000 invested. So the plan is in place, and hope you're making your own as well. So next exercise, and for me the most important one, is to start making my budget for 2020 as of today. And I will budget each month based on this year expenses, regardless of my yearly salary increase or any additional income I may make next year. So here's the ideal breakdown of objectives I would like to achieve next year. Giving myself targets is always adding excitement to the whole plan and adds accountability to it. So I will save next year. That's my objective, 60% of my salary over 11 months, and leave 1 month as a buffer next year. And this year I managed an average of 52% savings on my salary throughout the year. I can do better. I slipped a few times, I must admit, but I will get there. Increase my net worth by 35%, both through injecting my savings into my capital and considering an 8% capital gains at the end of the year, which is quite normal or conservative. You see it as you wish, but this year I foresee ending it at 25%. So I'm very conservative and pessimistic, and that is how you should budget, I believe. So this year was an exception, obviously. So 25% I may not see it happening anytime soon. 11% of my income will go to living expenses, and I will maintain this. I did say that the best way to increase your income and decrease your expenses was to actually expatriate yourself, not to be afraid to do that or to make that sacrifice. Well, that's how I am able to keep these expenses so low. When I say expatriation, I'm not saying moving to a new city. It is quite extreme in my case, as I live and work in Vietnam, where you can live very well with not much. So I will allocate 7% of my income monthly to purchase stocks of the company I work for, which I believe is still undervalued, and that is my only investment outside of the US stock exchange. Almost 18% will go towards my investments into my side ventures. That's the podcast, all the marketing that I do, and as well as the ads that I run. So there is 4% of my income which I use towards emergencies or unforeseen circumstances. This black box most of the time is used in my case, but if not, I will move this money into my brokerage account every 6 months. So it is important to maintain such a discipline if your focus stays towards building a net worth. And I am sure you realize that it may not look like a lot of fun in my life if everything is directed towards building wealth. Well, probably, but I will have my freedom, and that is my objective, and that's in a few years, and this is why I do this. And you know what? Those side ventures are actually a lot of fun for me, even if they don't bring a dime. Maybe one day they will, who knows. So in the meantime, be well and stay invested. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and I really hope that it brings you some additional support on your own journey towards financial freedom. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to never miss an episode, and looking forward to your DM and follow on Instagram at New Investor Podcast. In the meantime, stay invested, be patient, and keep playing the long-term game.